Good morning and afternoon or evening. Hi, I'm Lisa Ackberry, your hair doctor, and I just want to tell you guys out there, I'm really excited about your emails. I thank you so much for all your comments, your kind words. I love you and God bless you. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, evening, or night. Let's get back into the book. We're in our book tour, or our book series on the Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair. And some of you have emailed me, said that you've gotten my book, you've ordered the book, and you're following along. And those of you who have not gotten it, no problem. You can still just follow along. We are going to begin today with who's to blame. We're going to talk about why do we have these hair problems and who's to blame for these problems, and really what happened and how did we get there. And then we want to talk a little bit about some of those beauty shop drop-offs. Going to get into our kids a little bit today, and then some of the negative education that leads to negative habits. We're going to just see how far we get, and we'll keep going. We want to give about 15-20 minutes so that we don't take all of your time, but we want to make sure that we begin to include all of these things and really get down to the meat of why we're having these problems. And as you know, I started with the mind. The mind is the battlefield. The mind is the area where we have most of our problems, and most of our problems, I'll say, begin. And our mind, the way we think, that will determine what we do. And a lot of cases with the patients that I've seen over the years, the hair problems are stemming from how they view their hair, and then how they view their hair determines how they treat their hair. And also we got to think about how we style our hair. A lot of times we believe we just have to do certain things in order to get our hair to behave a certain way. So the mind is the battlefield. So who's to blame? Most of us, and the patients that I've treated, most of them blame the world, anybody, everything, for their hair and scalp problems. Many people, many African American people, or people of color, I will say, we think that people of other races are saying bad things about our hair. But really, that's not necessarily true. Most people don't think that we have bad hair outside of our race. They are pretty fascinated with our hair. Those are things that I found interesting, and that seems to be true. I think it's time that we understood and believed and really came to know. And these are things you're going to hear more about. Understanding, believing, coming to know. That's the way we're educating ourselves. And that's what education is about. Understanding it, believing it, coming to know it, memorizing it, making it a part of you. Not just memorizing it for the sake of memorizing it, but coming to know. But anyways, you'll hear me say that a lot throughout this series, in this book. We came to know that we have the power. Let me just read this because I want to make sure I get it right. I think it is time that we understand and we believe certain things. And it says, this is how I read it. I think it is time that we understood, believed, and came to know that we have the power to determine what we feel about our hair. We should not allow others' opinions to matter. Whether we want to admit it or not, the bad feelings about our hair came from within our race. In most cases, from within our own families. Most black families, and this is I'll say most, I'll say a lot, okay? You may say, oh no, it's not that way. Don't be negative about us. I just want to be realistic. And I want us to stop it if we're doing it. If we're not, then it doesn't apply to us. Most black families are raised to have strong family beliefs. Most black families. And also, beliefs. And once we believe something about or within our race, it is difficult and almost impossible to change our minds, whether it's negative or positive. Wouldn't you agree on that? I think so. When it comes to our hair, there are many beliefs that we must change in order to have better hair. Oh, I I believe that there are people that don't understand our hair, and some may say negative things about our hair out of ignorance, but they are a minority. Studies and the research that I've done, as well as other research, have proven this. So let's continue to look inside. Let's continue to take ownership of what's going on with our hair. Let's continue to do that, and I think we'll be okay. Whether you had a bad hair experience from your mom, dad, or family members, or friends, it has some effect on you. The way to know how it affected you is to focus on how you feel when you remember what was said to you or what you heard about your hair or your hair type. Look at how much of what was said and what you heard stayed with you. How much of it you came to know or believe. That's interesting. Let's stop and think about it. How do we feel if someone says, you have bad hair, you have the N-word that we say, nappy hair. And the reason I don't use that word is because growing up, when you said that word, that wasn't something nice. Now people use it, and they use it as a compliment, and that's good. But in cases where you don't, then it's not nice. So think about those kind of things. How did you feel? Bad hair or things like that. Look at how much of what was said and what you heard stayed with you. How much of it you came to know and believe. Now ask yourself how much of what you remember hearing about your hair type was positive. How many times did someone say, oh, you have beautiful hair? And how many times did someone say, oh, you have bad hair? Think back. Close your eyes for a minute and think back. No one wants to go to the negative, but we want to just kind of, what we're trying to do is go in there and find out what's bad and just dispose of it. Now again, I'm not trying to be a psychologist. Okay, I am looking to help you with ways and things that have helped me and my patients as it relates to hair. Now answer this question. Do you like your hair? And did you like your hair as a child? And do you like your hair as an adult? Ask yourself that. Now let's talk about what happened. I have been blessed to help many women through their hair problems. And I have found that women who hated their hair as a child not only had negative things said while growing up, but negative things were done to their hair. Now, as you read, if you read and listen to me, those of you reading, those of you are listening to me, keep in mind my definition of negative. I define a negative thought or action. I define a negative thought or action as wrong, incorrect, out of order, destructive, or the potential harm. Some grew up with a young mom who did not want to take the time with their hair, so they stayed in braids or a gelled ponytail. That child always heard things like, with your mama's workload, I don't have time to do your hair, so I need you to wear this style for a week or so. You tie it down, to sit in the bed, put a stocking cap on it. That was pretty traditional. People did it. The style was usually one her daughter perhaps did not like. She may or may not like that. It was too tight, or made her scalp itch, and was not combed or shampooed for several days, in some cases weeks. Some stated that they grew to like the styles. You know, some women just said, well, I like my styles. Well, I think I started liking them. Thinking that if mama said that it was a good style, then that's how it's supposed to look. We must be careful with what we say to our little girls, okay, about their hair and how we treat their hair, because they're learning and they are going to copy this, and they're going to do it, and they'll grow up with hair problems just like you have. Let's talk about these beauty shop drop-offs, because this is, as we speaking of little girls, many moms would just drop their almost babies off at the beauty shop, saying to the stylist, her hair is too much for me to handle. The child hears it at everything. Listen, we're trying to get to what happened. Pluck that out and move forward. I can't do anything with that bad hair. And just trust their stylist to take care of their little girl's hair. That's what they were doing. In a large number of cases, the child was passed over and just sat there and waited forever while her turn was waiting for her turn to get her hair done. But see, what sometimes the parents would drop them off and just go shopping or go places, because back in the day when I styled hair, and this was many years ago, and it may have changed, but I've heard it happen before. Parents will drop them off and run a few errands, which is okay, but you need to be careful when you do that. You need to leave specific instructions. You need to be involved. You don't need to just drop your baby off, because this is some of the things that are horror stories for these children. That's why some don't like salons to this day, and they don't know why. Some seems to be put on display, with everybody coming up to touch their hair, giving their opinion on their hair, about what kind of hair that child had, good or bad, as if the child was deaf. Little did they know or care that the child was taking this all in. And when the mom finally picked the child up, which was usually at the close of the day after she had gotten all her shopping done, she never knew why the child was so sad. Many moms would ignore the child or not question the stylist, saying in front of the child, "She's okay. She is just being spoiled. She will be fine after I buy her a burger, a Happy Meal." All that mom was concerned about is how cute her child looked and how her hair, how it was all done. And she didn't have to do it. I have interviewed many moms where they had tears in their eyes because these moms were upset. They're upset after the fact, with guilt, after their bad beauty salon experience, because let's face it, you're looking at the finished product. You're not looking at the trauma that your child went through. You're not looking at what's happening with her hair. You're not looking at what's said in front of her, what she hears about her hair. So these seeds were planted when you were younger. A lot of you ladies who are just doing really poorly with your hair. Yes, we have to educate ourselves, and we have to empower ourselves. But we also have to think back to really what happened. And then we have to deal with that, forgive ourselves and forgive the people who did it. And then we have to admit this is a problem. And then we have to talk to ourselves. And we're going to talk about that in this book. We have to talk to ourselves and say, I have great hair. I love my hair. God made my hair, and God makes no mistakes. That's it. I can manage my hair. My hair will not manage me. All those types of things. I have treated children as young as 13 months for hair loss. This is sad and unfortunate. And they've had hair loss, scalp problems, after a mom trusted her baby to a stylist who relaxed her hair. Now, we have some talented stylists out there. Very talented. But in many cases, babies are having their hair relaxed and they're too young. I don't think any child should have her hair relaxed if the parent does not decide that I'm going to take this as like major surgery. I'm going to make sure that I stand there and watch whoever puts chemicals on my child hair, and I'm going to make sure, and I watch, meaning I know that they're getting thoroughly rinsed, things like that. I learn about relaxers myself and know that the relaxer should only be on the natural hair, and the relaxer shouldn't be left on for a long period of time. I'll get some counseling first before I do the chemical, and then afterwards I'm going to maintain that hair, deep conditioning it twice a week, not leaving those ponytails and those gels and those mousse and those whatever the latest kind of things. So back in the day, it's a lot of gel and mousse, and we're still doing that. And these styles that we're letting last for weeks and weeks. Many stylists did not take the time and patience they needed to work with and care for their child's hair, and many will not, especially when you drop them off, because the child is small and they're doing the customers and clients who are paying attention to them. And so when the child is there, they feel like they'll be okay, and I'll just get to them when I get to them. And it's gotten better, and I know that. But old school salons are still doing it in some areas. Just be careful. And by the way, 13 months is a little young for relaxers, okay? I will address some issues on all of that a little bit later in the book. I would like to put this thought in your mind. We have a generation that does not know and have never seen their own hair in its natural state. Think about it. I'm not trying to lay guilt trip on any mom, and we need to be sure that you understand that. And I know that you did not know better if you damaged your child's hair, because I have the tears in my analysis room with these babies and moms. But I want to empower the next generation of moms and the moms who've done it, and to let you know this doesn't have to happen, or if it hasn't happened, before it happens. You got to take charge. Moms, you must take time to teach our little girls about their hair type, their hair texture, how to care for it, how beautiful it is. All of this is very important, because when you sit them in that mirror and you're combing their hair and you're saying, see, look how beautiful your hair is, do that. You have to do that with them, with that hair every day. They're going to say, oh, my hair is beautiful. I don't care how short it is, how long it is, how kinky it is, how straight it is. I don't care. Just say it's beautiful. This is yours. Just like you're beautiful. And that's what you say to those babies. We never know how it's going to affect them later if we're not paying attention to that. And I had a patient to say to someone who was speaking about several things in front of her. She sent a note and she said, I am a human, not a puppy. It means I can hear. I'm not deaf. I'm not a puppy. It doesn't matter. I'm not just going to run off and go play after you've said certain things. I'm a human. I thought that was something. Okay. That's for you moms. I love you. I know you're going to do well. I pray that you hear me and not get offended by what I said. Stylists, the same. You know that I'm here up for education and to help you and not to cause any problems for you. So, we're going to be okay. Let's talk about negative education that leads to negative habits. Many women have bad habits, like shampooing only every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. These bad habits came from how they were taught. You also have women who wear gel styles for weeks or braids for months until their hair almost rots off their head, saying, I just don't have time to fool with that N-word nappy stuff. Anyway, this is an easy, carefree look for me, and I'm just going to do it. My hair grows faster when I wear this style. Some people say that it's a good look for me, and I'm just going to wear it. I have little or no care for this style. I don't have to worry about it. I can put this style on my head. These are some of the things people say. I can do this style, and then it's done, or no care or no consideration is given to the hair and scalp while wearing these so-called easy, carefree styles. Many women will sit in the salon for hours waiting to have their hair done, rush home, call their girlfriend, and talk about the style and how the stylist and how unprofessional she was, only to go through the same thing again the next week. Now look back and try to make the connection. Can you understand care habits are passed from one generation to the next. The things that I have just talked about are things that echo some action from childhood. I will talk more as we go on into the book a little bit later about some of the incorrect habits, some as well as some myths that many black women have and all we grew up with as it relates to our hair. I'm Lisa Hackberry, your hair doctor. We're going to stop right there. When we come back and we do our next session, we're going to talk about the sneaky, subtle, it seems almost harmless things. Sometimes hair problems come later in life. We're going to talk about that. And we're just going to go through some of these things. And bear with me. I'm enjoying this portion on the mind. Let me know how you feel about it. We need to stop the insanity and think. Thoughts don't just appear out of nowhere. Those are some of the things we're going to continue to talk about. So thanks so much, guys. I love you so much. To God be the glory in Jesus. Hope you're having a great morning, evening, or night. I'll see you next time right here on Ask the Hair Doctor.